Dear brothers and sisters in Jesus Christ, a hearty welcome to all of you to reflect for a while on the effect of our speech or on the effect of our words. Words have power. They can bring about joy, peace, and harmony on one hand, and destruction, division, humiliation on the other. Our words have power to heal or to hurt. Our words reveal our attitudes, our identity, and our character to a large extent. How our words influence our attitude. Dr. Adrian Rogers says like this: to know what's in the heart, listen to words. He continues, when we use harsh words, it is indicative of a harsh heart and an angry heart. When we use negative words, it is indicative of a negative heart. When we use overactive words, it is indicative of an unsettled heart. When we use boastful words, it is indicative of an insecure heart. When we use critical words, it is indicative of a bitter heart. When we use encouraging words, it is indicative of a happy heart. When we use gentle words, it is indicative of a loving heart. When we use truthful words, it is indicative of an honest heart. This is how our words reveal our attitudes. As I have mentioned, our words also reveal our identity and our character as well. My words manifest my identity. Through my words, my identity as an optimist or a pessimist is known. Through my words, my identity as developer or destroyer is known. Through my words, my identity as motivator or demotivator is known. So, our words reveal our identity and our character. That is why in the Proverbs 18:21 we read like this: death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruits. Dear brothers and sisters, there are many sins that we commit in our speech. I would like to mention as many as 6 of them now. Let us reflect for a while all these sins that we commit in our speech. Those sins are sin of gossip, sin of calumny, sin of breaking the confidences, sin of detraction, sin of criticism, and sin of telling lies. Because we commit all these sins in our speech, the author of Ecclesiasticus says like this in chapter 22, verse 27. Who will set a guard over my mouth and an effective seal upon my lips, so that I may not fall because of them, my tongue may not destroy me. Dear brothers and sisters, now let us reflect on these 6 sins in brief. The first sin we commit in our speech is gossip. What is the meaning of gossip? What do we understand about this sin? It means discussing someone or something even when it is not called for. Gossip is defined as one who reveals secrets, one who goes about as a talebearer or scandal monger, or as one who spreads rumors. A gossiper is a person who has privileged information about people and proceeds to reveal that information to those who have no business knowing it. They know things about individuals or about incidents, but taking the advantage of that situation, they go about spreading bad about the situation or the person. Gossipers have the goal of building themselves by making others look bad and exalting themselves as some kind of repositories of knowledge. Pope Francis strongly said that gossiping is terrorism because the person who gossips is like a terrorist who throws a bomb and walks away destroying. They destroy with their tongue, they don't make peace. Pope Francis also said, I'm convinced that if each one of us would purposely avoid gossip, at the end, we would become a saint. It's a beautiful path. In the letter of St. Paul to Timothy, chapter 5, verse 13, we read like this. Besides that, they learn to be idlers, gadding about from house to house, and they are not simply idle, but also gossips and busybodies, saying what they should not say. Now let's move on to the second sin we commit in our speech, and it is sin of calumny. Dear brothers and sisters, the etymology of the word calumny is from Latin origin, calumnia. It means a false accusation or a malicious charge against someone. Calumny means making false and defamatory statements about someone in order to damage their reputation. It is injuring another person's good name by lying. It is doubly sinful in unjustly depriving another of his good name and in telling an untruth. Since calumny violates justice, it involves the duty of making reparation for the foreseen injury inflicted. Pope Francis once again says about calumny in these words. Calumny aims to destroy the work of God, and calumny comes from a very evil thing. It is born of hatred, and hate is the work of Satan. Calumny destroys the work of God in people, in their souls. Calumny uses lies to get ahead. Be in no doubt, where there is calumny, there is Satan himself. In the Gospel of St. Matthew, chapter 12, verse 24, we read like this. But when the Pharisees heard it, they said, "It is only by Beelzebul, the ruler of the demons, that this fellow casts out the demons." They, the Pharisees, the scribes, and the others, made defamatory statements about Jesus, stating that he was casting out demons by the power of Beelzebul. That is sheer calumny, dear brothers and sisters. Now let's move on to the third sin we may commit in our speech, and that is breaking the confidences. It is violating the trust that is reposed in a person. It is disclosing the secrets of others, breaking the confidence that he has placed on you. It is a kind of backstabbing. Backstabbing is hypocrisy in action, because the backstabber pretends loyalty to a person while secretly destroying him or his reputation. Breaking the confidences happens between two good friends. It can happen between a counselor and a counselee. It can happen between an authority and a subject. So it is very dangerous to personal relationships, dear brothers and sisters. In the Psalm 55, verses 12 and 13, we read, "It is not enemies who taunt me, I could bear that. It is not adversaries who deal insolently with me, I could hide from them. But it is you, my equal, my companion, my familiar friend, with whom I kept pleasant company." We trust someone and go to him and express our sorrow before him or share our inner feelings. But if that person does not keep the matter to himself and spreads that matter to everyone, then it is a sin of breaking the confidences. Now let us move on to the next sin we commit in our speech, and that is detraction. Detraction is belittling someone. It is revealing something about another that is true but harmful to that person's reputation. It is forbidden to reveal another person's secret, faults, or defects unless there is a proportionate good involved. The fact that something is true does not of itself justify its disclosure. Detraction is a sin against justice. It robs one of what most people consider more important than riches, since a person has a strict right to his or her reputation, whether it is deserved or not. So this is the meaning of detraction, dear brothers and sisters. Now let's move on to the next sin of speech, and it is criticizing. There is constructive criticism, which is also known as positive criticism. The goal of constructive criticism is ultimately to help somebody to improve their performance and behavior. As in the case of Jesus, when Jesus criticized the Pharisees, the Sadducees, and the scribes, he aimed at correcting their behavior. It is a sort of constructive criticism. But the negative criticism is constant fault finding. It is constant fault finding. It is the offshoot of pride of an individual and envy towards an individual. It is very often done in utter rage, dear brothers and sisters. In the book of Numbers, chapter 12, verses 1 and 2, we read like this: "While they were at Hazeroth, Miriam and Aaron spoke against Moses because of the Cushite woman whom he had married, and they said, "Has the Lord spoken only through Moses? Has he not spoken through us also?" And the Lord heard it. So this is how we commit a sin in our speech, by leveling negative criticism against the others. And finally, the sin of telling lies. Lying is defined as making an untrue statement with the intention to deceive somebody. Lying is the first sin recorded in the Bible. Satan lied to Eve. Satan said, "You will not die. As against the words of God, you will die." Telling lies in personal relationships can have several negative effects, dear brothers and sisters, and they include loss of trust. Trust is foundational in any relationship. Once a lie is discovered, it can lead to a significant breakdown in trust, making it difficult for the other person to believe anything you say in the future. Emotional pain. Lies can cause emotional distress not only for the person being lied to, but also for the liar. Feelings of guilt, shame, or anxiety may arise from the act of deceiving someone. Conflict and resentment. Lies can lead to misunderstandings and conflicts. When the truth comes out, it can create resentment and anger, leading to arguments or even the end of relationships. Increased stress. Maintaining a lie requires effort and can lead to increased stress. The liar may constantly worry about being found out, which can take a toll on their mental health. Isolation. If lying becomes a pattern, it can lead to isolation. Friends and family may distance themselves from someone they perceive as dishonest, leading to a lack of support and connection. Erosion of communication. Lies can hinder open and honest. And finally, the negative impact of telling lies. It is damaging our self-image. Lying can lead to a negative self-image. People may struggle with feelings of inadequacy or self-loathing if they frequently engage in dishonesty. In the letter of St. Paul to the Colossians, chapter 3, verse 9, we read, "Do not lie to one another, seeing that you have stripped off the old self with its practices." Dear brothers and sisters, these are some of the sins we commit in our speech. Today, let us examine ourselves and see whether we become a prey to all these sins. If we have fallen a prey to these sins, let us make amends. Let us ask for the mercy of the Lord that we may come out of it. Definitely, the Lord's mighty hand will help us come out of these sins we commit in our speech. Amen.